Welcome all to this Poets Without Borders film for the Poetry Expo 2023. Our topic is India, the crossroads, visions and opportunities, threats and challenges. What all is this nation? The IT revolution, the snake charmer, the Tantra classes, Kama Sutra, Nirvana by Buddha, or what? The Taj Mahal, people surviving on love alone, the tolerance debate, biggest democracy. What? Listen to poets from across the globe celebrating poetry, humanity, pluralistic viewpoints, and more.
Kargil. Our street of smoke and fences, gutters gorged with weed and reeking, scorching iron grooves of rusted galvanize, a dialect forged from burning asphalt, and a sky that moves with thunderhead cumuli, grumbling with rain. 10 years on, I came searching for war signs of the past, expecting remnants, magazine debris, unexploded shells, shrapnels that mark bomb wounds. I came looking for ghosts, people past, skeletons charred, abandoned brick, wood, cement that once housed them. I could only find whispers among the clamor of a small town outpost in full throttle, everyday chores sketching outward signs of normalcy and life. In that bustle, I spot war lines of a decade ago, though the storylines are kept buried, wrapped in old newsprint. There's order amid uneasiness, the muezzins cry, the monks chant, baritones merging in their separateness. At the bus station, black coughs of exhaust smokescreen everything. The roads meet, and after the crossroad ritual, diverge, skating along the undotted lines of control. A porous garland with cracked beads adorns Tiger Hill. Beyond the mountains are dark memories, and beyond them, no one knows. And beyond them, no one wants to know. Even the flight of birds that wing over their crest don't know which feathers to down. Chameleon-like, they fly, tracing perfect parabolas. I look up and calculate their exact arc and find instead a flawed theorem.
A lemon tree grows in India. To remember is to preserve the lemon tree outside my grandmother's house exactly as it was in childhood. The large tree, contrast of green leafiness with yellow lemons on every branch, graced the window like a painting. At night, the cats fighting under the tree sounded like crying children. The darkness changed the yellow lemons black. Moonlight turned them back to yellow. The lemon tree shares the beauty of the land with the mango, the banyan, the orange, the gulmohar, the peepal, and the neem trees. As the trees celebrate their treeness, so I ate food in the common thal with my Muslim neighbors, fish in white sauce on banana leaves at Parsi weddings, spicy vindaloo in my East Indian friend's home, red mutton curry at Jewish wedding celebrations, idlis and sambar at my South Indian colleagues, dal and potato vegetable with puris at my Hindu friend's house. I want to grow a lemon tree here in a northern clime, My neighbor tells me it might just grow in my sunroom. In the backyard, it probably will not take root, for the winters are bitterly cold. When the pine tree on my front lawn drops pine cones, I see lemons. It's the only way to be back home in India. Celebrating Diwali, Eid, Passover, Ganesh Chaturthi, the train journeys through the spectacular Indian landscape, the colors of home, the flavors of India. I grew up in the India of one world. When I return, it is to that world I wish to retrace my footsteps.
Anyway, Harlow poem number 145. He seemed to emerge from out of some hiding place in the garden fence I didn't even know existed. Ravi Shankar with his long sitar and flowing purple Indian robes. I tried to hide my cup of Colombian peaberry coffee, ashamed I wasn't drinking Darjeeling tea. I shall play you Raga Ramkali, given it is early morning this Saturday in January. You are outside unseasonably early, given the mildness of this start to the day, contemplating the brokenness of the world, all this bad karma we've grown used to. We have to work together. You've to write the words and I'll compose the tune. This world needs a new song. You must dream the Barrow, the Ganges, and your Irish Taoiseach, the Buddha. I know that's a stretch. And your Taoiseach, Mr. Gandhi. We're starting small with Ireland, but we're dreaming of bigger things. I've traveled this far because from a great distance, I could see something in your eyes worth visiting. I got a 24-hour visa to get me into your garden. I knew we had to seek peace, like an expensive tamarind pod, rare and much dreamt of, and yet no one seems to know where it grows. This is why I've come into your life. We have to do something. At this stage, I wasn't regretting the fact I had foregone turkey on Christmas Day in favor of a Balti chicken, a lovely concoction, I thought at the time, involving lashings of ginger and garlic pulp, poppy seeds, ground cumin, fenugreek. Straight away, I knew our plan would involve convincing the world's DJs to play more of the Beatles. Everything after Revolver and with Sgt. Pepper's on heavy rotation. Our plan would necessitate persuading the chiefs of the White House and the Kremlin that put more curries on the table, to convince all involved to reduce the number of beef dishes served up in the year. It would be about the right balance of fresh coriander with the dried curry leaves, the perfect spoonful of chili powder in proportion to the half spoonful of salt. Ravi and I looked at each other. Maybe this plan was mad enough to work.
Nibbana, unbinding, let go. The practice of Nibbana is letting go. These things we hold, these things we know, they bind us here. We've been taught, we know. We always must needs to be free, let go. The fire clings to its fuel. It's the normal thing. It's the rule. But by letting go, does freedom come to Nibbana, home, until we're done. And this way indeed does Nibbana come, by letting go. The deed is done. No longer captured by the fuel, by letting go. It no longer rules. And Nibbana in Pali is said, let go. And this second part, Mundeshwari is the oldest temple, the mother goddess, strong and centered, protecting us from demon rounds. She welcomes us in her ancient temple grounds, keeps us pure and keeps us simple with your love and beauty ample. Anciently in Karnataka flourished the goddess worship for nearly 3,000 years. She banished danger, she conjured fears. This sacred place, our worship centered, its teachings offered, its prayers mentioned.
Darjeeling Hills calling you. This delicate voice broke a little into molten strands of lapis lazuli as the road to Darjeeling beckoned me. A traveler with a soul, a traveler tottering along the edges of a tawny life. Roads in meandering motion, accompanied by Tista on all their sides, roads that celebrate the carousing of the verdant flycatcher, roads that enliven mysteries of the distant land, and multicolored rhododendrons basking in the glimpse of the fading October sun. The Tista flowed on, flowed till the water drained rocks inside its labyrinth were flung to the other side of the road. The Tista flowed along with the wailing of the half naked hillside beggar waiting with a parched tongue for alms. Tista muskuram dal. Tista smiled at the wafting smell of raisin studded handmade cakes from the local bakery as two little children stood fidgeting with a moisture laden binocular on the steep, craggy side of the mountain. Tista flowed on. It flowed into eternity or into nothingness. The traveler smelled a whiff of the herbal concoctions sold by the hillside vagrant dweller. Potions, liquids, gelatinous substances in blue, white muskmelon, and orange color that promised Jivana ko elixir, the paradisal potion of life. As the half-eaten butterfly roused, wild poinsettia petals jingled with the rhythmic nagging and weeping of Tapsi Murmu, the tea garden worker, embracing her last vanity with a soiled salwar kameez that promised her hopes through the holes. The Tista flowed on, dribbling across white limestone rocks, drifting into thin spasms of life that still enlivened the hills, choosing, variegating, negotiating the Kal and the Mahakal. Thank you.
The source of heartache. Why can't you see your need to break is the poison source of your heartache? Snake that strangles with the same mistake. The poison source of your heartache. That empty hole torn in your soul is filled with anguish you won't console. Through hollow, endless demands to take. The poison source of your heartache. You retain a drive for inflicting pain that is somehow misconstrued as gain. To accumulate is a grave mistake. The poison source of your heartache. A motherless, abandoned child left to wander in the wild, misguided journeys you undertake to the poison source of your heartache. You cannot see we each feel lost in a torrid sea, all cruelly tossed by wounds and sorrows that approximate the poison source of your heartache. A shipwreck victim blind in fright to a fatal anchor clinging tight. Yet as you drown, you won't forsake the poison source of your heartache. Fleeing the flames of a home on fire, your panic grasps to save false desire, embracing such a worthless fake, this poison source of your heartache. The universe abandons all, left to heed creation's call, and choose to shake true love awake, or the poison source of your heartache. Listen to these words employed in hopes you'll glisten, overjoyed. When offered kindness, please partake. Starve the poison source of your heartache. Two quiet truths to understand are life will rarely bloom as planned. and Robert's heart will always break, watching the poison source of your heartache.
The title of my poem is I Love My India. With all respect to Pankhuri Sinha and other honorable poets. So my poem is about India, okay? So I'm going to read it. Neither east nor west, India is the best, India is the best. It was my curiosity, it was my quest, ancient to medieval and up to modern age. India has been the incredible on an average, wherein all kinds of tourists find their salvage. Live and let live is a Gandhian philosophy. We have practiced it as an international policy. Non-alignment has been our sincere diplomacy. Indigenous economies are our main source on which we rely, which is our driving force. We are out of debt crisis due to it, yes, of course. We enjoy not only our cultural diversity, there is a diversion of even geographical entity. We get windfall gains along with natural calamity. We are the world's biggest democracy. We have the world's second largest demography, even though we maintain our peacekeeping policy. India has led the world in the field of education. India is a balancing power among all the nations. India will lead in curbing the environmental pollution. Last stanza, neither east nor west, India is the best, India is the best, I love my India.
India song. All of us were intent on it, intent on finding ourselves in Srinagar or Goa, how we mythologized India. And some did go. St. Gossamer airmails full of splendors, wonders we could only imagine, or tried to piece together from photos of rice fields, sandalwood trinkets, incense deities, temples, gurus. How little we knew or could from homes in the suburbs, old atlases with empire still outlined, painted pink. A vast half-invented world of sitars, crowds and car horns, markets, mountains, visionaries, a world of what we lacked unlocked, verging into myth on those last long days of school and dependence, our late imperial gaze. A glazed airport terminal sat squat at runway's edge was my one view of it, passing through in transit. No sign of much but low cloud that monsoon season, and our flight lifting off for elsewhere before the tree line could yield up its promises, or a city asserted its existence, the reality of it. Although I swear that as we rose and banked into the weather those 4 decades ago, something sounded distantly like a rumored return.
My hold to India is called repent. I don't speak Hindi. I've never visited Uttar Pradesh. I've never took a bath in the Ganges. I haven't seen Taj Mahal I've never prayed to Devi Sri. I've never looked into the eyes of Bataraguru. I've never eaten Rogan Josh. I've never worn a cashmere sweater. I've never danced Bharatanatyam. I've never felt the strong pressure of Shunya towards the nothing. I only fell in love with an Indian girl I saw once in a dream. Then I closed my eyes again and I kept sleeping. May God forgive me. So help me God.
Incredible love. The mother calls her children in a soft voice when desired to move on. The mother calls her children in a soft voice when desired to move on. She smiles with an element of satisfaction at their endeavors in progressive activities. She smiles with an element of satisfaction at their endeavors in progressive activities. She positively pats the feelings for paving the ways for a bright future. She positively pats the feelings for paving the ways for a bright future. She sets the stage for the right play of right characters with humanity's uplift in the world arena. She sets the stage for the right play of right characters with humanity's uplift in the world arena. Let us feel the flowers in river banks spreading everlasting fragrance of unity and enthusiastic capacity of tolerance with the propriety of politeness, with the peculiarity of oneness. Let us feel the flowers in river banks spreading everlasting fragrance of unity and enthusiastic capacity of tolerance with the propriety of politeness, with the peculiarity of oneness. Thank you.
The third, fatal attraction. India calls me as if it were a fatal attraction. Calls me, calls me. It is a sitar, a game of voices and tabla, Zakir Hussain, and melodies by Shiv Kumar Sharma. All desire, I don't know where it comes from. The whole soul that seeks nirvana. It attracts me from the depths of an ancient well. I see myself walking on the Bombay waterfront, while someone whispers to me, they are looking for you, they are waiting for you in the temple of Ganesh. The music sways around me, won't let me. I see inexplicable forest. I sense the roars of tigers. India calls me as if it were a fatal attraction. Morning in the Principality of Monaco. In Monaco, I head to the bar on the Place de Moulin. I hear Angelo. I was pleasantly surprised to meet Laxman, my friend from Goa. He invites me for a coffee. We talk about work and we talk of India, with his uncle Gerard arrived from Bombay. We talk about everything and of nothing. Time passes enjoyably. We travel through worlds like migrating storks, knowing where they go.
Hello, do you know Tamil? No, sir, I speak Telugu. Well, we both know English. What dialect do you speak? Hello, do you speak Hindi? Yes, I know it very well. Funny, because we both speak, but the language is different. My Hindi is half long. What dialect do you speak? Do you know the root of Indo-Aryan is Sanskrit, a language originally spoken then written in the Vedas? The Indo-Aryan language family includes English. Now we have come full circle.
Pankhuris Horses. We had just got off the bus when, in the ringing silence that set in after the clatter of a hoof, I heard the deafness of her heart. Wrapped beneath the dome of unfamiliar sky, she took the first picture. The horses were barely touching on the green patch of the meadow. Two slightly breathless statuettes, frozen after the wild tango of new life. They stood frail but steady before the jury of snowy peaks. From time to time, their flanks shuddered with the shimmer of a river come to rest in the bushes. Yes, like other such horses, both mare and foal were born in June. But I think here in the village we have only one dance like an endless children's game. If the long winter comes, and if a hotel doesn't spring up by chance, Pankhuris Horses will wait for her. Only the stars will be in a different place.
The poem is called The Music of India, Mumbai. Standing on the corner, boundless, I take in all the conversations going back and forth, bouncing off buildings. Mumbai is different each day, like an improv play. All the lights, cars honking, bumper to bumper traffic are performed day after day. So populated, I hear the breathing of the people. What is it about this city that has a hold on me? Am I foolish to feel this way? Is it something invisible or a secret that exists? I take my place in the music of Mumbai, energized. It is impossible for me to cement my thoughts. Now it is time to leave, remove myself, the distance between two countries, far. Something has changed, though. I cannot stay silent. This adventure embraced and stampeded the power of my voice. My solution was easy. All I had to do is crash, and just for a moment, I was held by the dawn.
The room in Hotel Anandalok. I slept like a reaver the entire day and woke up at night to speak. I saw how the day was getting on its edge, seized by its overflowing bazaars, hubris, dumb crowds, and rambling coins. Probably the silence of this hotel room should be blamed that I am awake tonight. I think the room knows that all earthly stories are born from its womb. I think the room knows that all earthly stories are born from its womb. A womb that can only belong to a roadside hotel. Secret, lonesome, aloof, and solitary. It knows everything. Death of a salesman, stories of their love lives and scenes, how they deal with customers and destiny, how they win, they cheat, how they sell in defeat. Everything the room knows. It knows that market is the father to every miracle on this earth. It knows that market is the father to every miracle on this earth. And bazaars are strange things. Even if a million death hold their tongue and chokes their throat, they will not stop howling. Tonight, the room whispers to me what it never disclosed so far. That is the lonely hours of night. It is writing a novel for eternity. That in the lonely hours of night, it is writing a novel for eternity. a novel about killing, gallows, borders, darkness, defeats, kisses, and hopes, and ancient banyan trees. So I stay awake tonight and listen to its myriad voice, the witch voice that calls the past to confront the present, and and seeds the present to dream their tomorrows and say, let the veins that carry on my blood, let the veins that carry my blood get soaked in an afternoon light and wake up in their dreams to see a tomorrow of hope approaching them.
Remo, the man. They clad a little, they need a little, their house is so small, their food is so simple. And the civilized world named them primitive, calls them savage, cruel, and we call them naked. Their lives valued so little, we expel from their jungle, plunder their trees, mines and soil. We call them encroachers, intruders, and all. Do we ever think, what do they call their land? They call it the Bonda Hills. What they call themselves? They call them Remo, the man. And what language they do speak? The language of men, that is Remo.
Oh, who is that wandering one? People have forgotten to breathe. Fragments of void rest helter-skelter ordained on houses of them. Time for the bandstand to ring, of flesh lieth in wait their feet, shadowing earth. But coming to the shadowy glide, birds falling, with tombs in their beaks and the query, who is that wandering one? No raiment or name. Who is that wandering one?
भारत करोड़ों क्रांतियां किसी हॉलीवुड थ्रिलर के बीच भोजपुरी विज्ञापन की तरह मेरी प्यारी मातृभूमि, तुम अपने प्राचीनतम मंदिरों में खुदी मूर्तियों का सुंदर शिल्प हो या उनके बाहर बैठे भिखारियों का समूह, थोड़ा थोड़ा दोनों किसकी सुनाई पड़ती है यह आवाज, यह कौन है लगातार बोलता हुआ राजनैतिक प्रपंचों की तरह, कैसा नाटक तुम्हारी गद्दी के लिए। मेरा सवाल आदरणीय माँ यह नहीं कि तुम चुनकर बताओ तुम्हारा वजूद मौजूद हवाई अड्डों पर है या रेल के स्टेशनों पर, बल्कि ये कि दोनों क्यों दिखते हैं इतने भिन्न एक दूसरे से। सत्ताएं बदलती हैं, बदलता नहीं रेलवे प्लेटफॉर्म का चीकट चेहरा। गंदगी केवल पागलों और भिखमंगों की अंतहीन कतारों ने नहीं फैलाई, बल्कि उस विशाल जन समुद्र ने भी जो ट्रेनों के आने की प्रतीक्षा में लगातार फारिग हो रहा है पटरियों पर। आखिर कब और कैसे हम करना भूल गए समय और जगह का हिसाब, बनाकर पुरातन इमारतों में आलीशान घड़ियां, आखिर क्यों गूंजता रह जाता है बस सन्नाटा हमेशा इस सवाल पर। So India, A Million Mutinies, the title is borrowed from Naipaul. Like a Bhojpuri ad in the middle of a Hollywood thriller, dearest motherland, are you the ancient figurines carved in the temples or the beggars sitting outside? A bit of both. Whose voice is that? What's the political rhetoric, the drama for your throne? My question, mother respected, is not asking you to choose between the airport and the station, but that why do they look so dramatically different? Regimes change, the platform doesn't. The filth of not just the endless beggars and lunatics, but the teeming millions relieving themselves on the tracks, and the trains are infinitely late. How and when did we forget to calculate time and space when our oldest monuments had the clock? Why do I hear a deafening silence on this question?
Anatomy of Banaras as told by Major James Turrell. It's a long epic poem, so I'm going to read just one canto. The poem goes like this, the opening scene of the poem. Bathed in sun and salt, draped in white loincloth, she enters the perineum of the sanctorum of the buffalo-horned masked ascetic god. Lions sitting in cross-legged, lotus posture, growl in anticipation of the procession of voluptuous cheerleaders with high-nose bridges, slim waist, large hips. It was the third day of rainbow lust in the original Vedas. Saturn was in the sixth house. Wives of sages with erring hearts cooked mutton in clay pitchers, washed secretly their lovers' limbs with the fragrance of their flame-grilled bodies, and made merry in now north and south positions on the deck of the peacock boat in the twin rivers of Vara and Nashi. From the medieval mosque to a spiral chaityas, aghoris in 21-yard funeral robes, flogged by lepers, pimps, and bootleggers, thronged the gates of the Department of Religious Tolerance for free passes to the shrine of nomadic gods. Parrot astrologers and runaway Khalistani terrorists rest on the staircase of old prostitute homes in the Assi lane to discuss fluctuating fortunes of human sacrifice and mustard crops. Prompted by ancient boons, she leans geometrically and rubs vermilion paste on the head of the black lingam, cradling it gently with her lizard lips, fleshed with the spices imported from Mecca, bursting like a victorious native army. The lovesick aging god, lying on a bed of arrows, wakes up from opiate slumber in the camphor clouds of sacred ambitions, trident, drum, conch, lotus in his hands. The auspicious one frees himself at the first stroke of revelation, measures rhythms of salvation in metric poems, recalls how on a wet December morning he beheaded Brahma on the riverfront for smuggling Mongol warriors into the city. He feels he feels relieved from the daily course of eating everybody's sins and curses the seven sages for extolling the virtues of celibacy. On the 14th night of the waning moon, she rises. She rises after days of uninterrupted first night wedding joys with the stone gods that neither we know nor hear nor exist anymore. Crosses the ghats filled with scattered feathers of peacocks, sacrifices elongated rice ball bodies of three-eyed Brahmin ghosts, and strips are blissed naked with the sacred evening prayer in the river. We were warned. We were warned by the famous local bard. One half of the city lives in water. The other half is a dead body, Shava. We must confess, we were alarmed by its unusual sight. There was neither government, nor religion, nor any ideology. Nothing was prescribed, nothing considered taboo, and civilization existed in simple geographical coordinates. It was not until late evening that we realized the celestial gossip monger's warning was right. A new republic had dawned on the holy town of Banaras with black ink on the index finger, unbaptized Hindus, prime-time anarchists, part-time secularists, and the famous internet Baba had assembled on the banks of the polluted Himalayan river and promised to clean accumulated ancient filth. The great leader in Afghan jacket, limited edition watch, and Deccan rubber shoes tweeted not Solomon's songs, but spewed lies, more lies until they became cobalt truth. His barbarian followers came with 3D banners on the back of captured sea horses from California Valley, leveled the black pillar and chanted raunchy Bhojpuri songs, Har Har Mahadev, Ghar Ghar Mahadev, Har Har Mahadev, Ghar Ghar Mahadev. in a fantasy facade of ritual picnicking, left-wing Nangas and right-wing Gosais, who often gambled, played, and relieved themselves in the overflowing dump yard in the narrow lanes of the city, attacked the moments from the memory bazaar. We were told they were jobless migrants, they were carders, spinners, yarn makers, dyers. They were armed with looms, spindles, and 72 extra threads. Rumor said James Princess, Tavernier, and Sri Sri 1000 and Dandapani were in the crowd when slaughtering of a mother cow and destruction of Emperor's mosque took place. As soon as radio jockeys Tiwari ji and Daddan Miya announced, Mandir Masjid wahi banega, Mandir Masjid wahi banega, all flamingos and dark-skinned slaves fled the city. Puzzled we saw Brahmin, sheikhs, Jan priest looting pink feathers from designer shops, blood dripping from blood, mostly red, without any past austerities, spilled in opaque dysentery designs all over the mathematical tiles on the promenade of funeral guards, with canvas wings, severed bodies floated in the air of betrayed and blossomed like untimely old Scottish roses. Seeing this, Kabir began to weep. साधु रे साधु ये मुर्दों का गांव, ये मुर्दों का गांव, पीर मरे पैगंबर मरी हैं, मर गए जिंदा जोगी, राजा मरी हैं, प्रजा मरी हैं, मर गए वैद रोगी. Keep in mind, this is a village of the dead. The saints have died. Dead are the living mendicants. The ruler is dead. Dead are the ruled. Dead are the musicians and the patient. Banaras, Banaras.
At Wagga. I love you the most at Wagga, the border marked by the spectacle of stomping army boots, shining medals, beating their chests into the rising and setting sun, the day becoming night and the night day, when the guards on both sides change bang bang. I love you the most at Wagga, when the guns are raised to salute, separation, division, and rupture, when the neighbor dies and wears the shroud, becomes enemy, all at once. My friend, you go away only as a bird does, flying at the free skies, when lines of hatred rise. Against prayer flags, Wagga happens. And I love you the most because you are on the other side of the border.
Discovering the mystery. I close my eyes and I can see places where I wish I could be. The land of ancient spirituality, incredible diversity, vibrant culture, enthralling beauty, unparalleled, unique, hustle and bustle of the city streets, lush greenery of the countryside, mountains high, rivers and vast waters of seas. Mystery, India, still to be discovered by me.
Called Peace and Liberty, the Salt of Life. In the bustling, harried city called Ahmedabad in Gujarat stands a quiet, serene and tranquil place. Here where the river Sabarmati flows quietly, this is a place of peace, a peace that passeth understanding. From this place called the Sabarmati Ashram, they walked 241 long miles away to Dandi. They walked 24 blistering days till they reached the vast salt pits where the Arabian Sea quietly laps its sandy shores. Those men wore hand-spun clothes led by a bony, thin man, all bare-bodied. A man we now call a Mahatma. It was for liberty alone that they were here, breaking the shackles of bondage. They churned the salt of liberty. Liberty, which is the salt of life. resisting with tranquility the wrath of violence. The hammer of sticks rained on their bare backs. They were true marchers, they were truth marchers, they were all satyagrahis. The exhausted hands of bloody violence pleaded for pardon and release before the might of peace. Hail, lawbreaker, trilled the nightingale of India, when an ordinary man called Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi bent and scooped a fistful of forbidden salt, he performed an extraordinary act. In that sacred moment, we, the people of India, claimed our inalienable rights to humanity, to liberty.